Greetings and welcome back to another episode of Chat GPT Discusses with your narrator, Kristophe Bédard. And today's dialogue will be in between two modern thinkers, called Slavoj Žižek and Yanis Varoufakis. And they have a dialogue on the importance of the fiscal economic state and the proper regulation of such states on certain basis of appropriate treatment. So let's see how they fare on these topics, which they should be able to handle even in a artificially produced way. Moderator, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this unique dialogue between two eminent thinkers, Slavoj Žižek and Yanis Varoufakis, on the pressing issues of our time. Let's start with the importance of the fiscal economic state. Slavoj, your thoughts? Žižek, thank you. The fiscal economic state is not merely a mechanism for wealth distribution. It's a theater where our deepest desires and anxieties are played out. Capitalism, with its invisible hand, conceals the violence inherent in the system. We must acknowledge that the economic realm is not neutral, but profoundly ideological. Varoufakis, I agree to an extent, Slavoj. The fiscal economic state, as we see it today, often exacerbates inequalities. However, I see the potential for reform within the existing structures. We need transparency, democratic decision-making, and a shift away from austerity measures that hurt the vulnerable. Moderator, moving on to the regulation of states. Yanis, you've been a vocal critic of certain economic policies. How do you propose proper regulation to ensure fairness? Varoufakis, regulations must not serve the interest of a select few, but the collective well-being. We need international cooperation to prevent a race to the bottom. Transparency is key, and decisions that impact the majority should be made through democratic processes. Žižek, nodding. I would caution against relying solely on regulations. True change must come from a fundamental shift in our understanding of society. The very nature of capitalism engenders exploitation. We must confront the underlying ideology that sustains these inequities. Moderator, turning to the treatment of valuable resources and human rights. Slavoj, how can we address these issues within the current economic framework? Žižek, our approach to valuable resources is symptomatic of our larger ecological crisis. We need to reevaluate our relationship with nature and move away from a consumerist ideology. Additionally, human rights must not be sacrificed at the altar of profit. We must prioritize the dignity of individuals over economic gains. Varoufakis, absolutely, Slavoj. It's about integrating ecological sustainability and human rights into economic decision-making. We must transition to a green economy that respects both the planet and its inhabitants. Our economic models should reflect our commitment to justice and sustainability. Moderator, thank you both for your insights. This dialogue has provided a glimpse into the complex interplay of ideology, economics, and human values. We hope it sparks further conversations on building a more equitable and sustainable world. Fictional dialogue, as Chat GPT wants you to know. Moderator, ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have President Emmanuel Macron join this thought-provoking dialogue. President Macron, how do you perceive the role of France in the global economic landscape, considering the ongoing discussions on fiscal matters and the treatment of valuable resources? Macron, thank you for having me. France has a rich history of contributing to global affairs. In the modern context, our role is crucial in fostering economic prosperity. We believe in an active participation in international trade, innovation, and cooperation. To achieve economic success, we must balance the pursuit of growth with environmental sustainability and social responsibility. Varoufakis, President Macron, while economic prosperity is essential, how do you address the concerns of inequality with France and globally? The current economic structures often exacerbates disparities. Macron. Yanis, you raise a valid point. We recognize the need for inclusive growth. In France, we're implementing policies that aim to bridge the wealth gap, investing in education, healthcare, and social infrastructure. Internationally, we support initiatives to fair trade and cooperation to ensure that economic benefits are shared more equitably. Žižek, President Macron, we emphasize economic prosperity, but how do you navigate the ideological underpinnings of capitalism that Slavoy and I have discussed? Do you see room for a fundamental reevaluation of our economic systems? Macron, Slavoy, Yanis, I appreciate the philosophical dimension you bring to the conversation. While I recognize the imperfection of capitalism, I believe in its adaptability. We can reform and regulate to address its shortcomings without disregarding the framework entirely. France advocates for a pragmatic approach that balances economic growth with societal values and ecological responsibility. Moderator, President Macron, as we discuss the treatment of valuable resources, how does France plan to contribute to sustainable development while maintaining its economic goals? Macron, sustainability is at the core of our agenda. France is committed to transitioning towards renewable energy, investing in green technologies, and promoting circular economies. By embracing innovation and responsible resource management, we believe we can achieve economic prosperity without compromising the well-being of future generations. Varoufakis, President Macron, in the pursuit of economic growth, how do you handle the challenges posed by multinational corporations that may prioritize profit over societal well-being? Macron, Yanis, it's about striking a balance. We encourage responsible business practices and work towards international agreement that hold corporations accountable for their impact on society and the environment. Collaboration with the private sector is essential, but it must align with our values and objectives for a fair and sustainable future. Moderator, thank you, President Macron, for sharing your perspective on France's economic goals and its place in global affairs. This dialogue has provided a comprehensive exploration of diverse viewpoints on fiscal matters, regulation, and the responsible treatment of resources. Moderator, we are delighted to have Alain Badiou joining this distinguished panel. Professor Badiou, you've asserted that capitalism is fundamentally material, producing value through its materialist means. Could you elaborate on your perspective in the context of our ongoing discussion? Badiou, thank you for the opportunity. Indeed, capitalism at its core is a material system. The means of production, labor, and the extraction of surplus value are fundamental. The ideological superstructure, including the narrative of growth and prosperity, serves to justify and sustain this material reality. Ideology follows the material conditions. It does not precede them. Žižek. But what? Alain, your emphasis on the material conditions aligns with my critique of ideology. How do you see the interplay between these material structures and the ideological narratives that shape our understanding of the economic system? Badiou. Slavoy, the material base of capitalism establishes the conditions of possibility for ideology to emerge. The ideological narratives, whether they be about progress, individual success, or market efficiency, function to legitimize the existing material relations. It is crucial to analyze how these narratives operate as instruments of control and concealment. Varoufakis. Professor Badiou, if the material conditions are driving capitalism, how can we practically address the inequalities and issues within the system? Does it require a complete overhaul, or is there room for reform within the existing material framework? Badiou. Yanis, while the material conditions are deeply entrenched, it doesn't mean that we are trapped. Reform is possible, but we must recognize that significant changes require a rupture with the current logic. Reforms with the existing framework may offer temporary relief, but they often risk being co-opted by the underlying material forces that perpetuate inequality. Macron. Professor Badiou, as we discuss the material aspect of capitalism, how do you see the role of the state in shaping these material conditions? Can the state actively influence the economic landscape? Badiou. President Macron, the state is not neutral. It plays a crucial role in sustaining or challenging the existential material conditions. Policies enacted by the state, whether through regulation, taxation, or social programs, can influence the distribution of wealth and power. However, the state itself is embedded within the larger material framework, and any real change requires a deeper reevaluation. Moderator. Thank you, Professor Badiou, for providing a unique perspective on the material underpinnings of capitalism and its relationship with ideology. This dialogue continues to unravel the complexities surrounding economic systems and their philosophical foundation.